Ancient Egyptian art is a compelling form of expression that simultaneously narrates the world of the gods and daily life, death, and immortality. From architectural structures to statues, from tomb reliefs to iconic masterpieces, every element carries both functional and symbolic meanings. Remarkable for its social and religious structure as much as its aesthetic sense, this ancient art continues to evoke admiration today as one of the longest-running visual cultures in human history. Ancient Egyptian art began to take shape around 3000 BCE with the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt and persisted with unique consistency for over 3,000 years. This artistic approach is a reflection of a powerful belief system concerning the order of the universe, the gods, and the afterlife. Egyptian artists aimed to reflect universal order and spiritual reality rather than imitating nature exactly. For this reason, figures are drawn according to specific rules. For example, the head and legs are shown from the side, while the eyes and shoulders are shown from the front, ensuring a figurative integrity. In this canon system, bodies are scaled according to social status. Pharaohs are depicted large, while servants are shown small. One of the most distinctive aspects of ancient Egyptian art is its sense of symmetry and idealized form, which remained unchanged over time. This consistency in aesthetics symbolizes the stability of Egyptian society, divine order, and the idea of immortality. Architecture, sculpture, wall paintings, and hieroglyphs all function as parts of the same holistic system. In this respect, Egyptian art served as one of the fundamental pillars of civilization as an aesthetic, ritualistic, and ideological tool. In ancient Egyptian art, aesthetic concerns always served sacred and political purposes. Art functioned as a way to communicate with the gods and make the divine authority of the pharaoh visible. For the Egyptians, art was not just a means of decoration, but also a reflection of the principle of Maat, cosmic order and balance in the world. Since pharaohs were accepted as the representatives of the gods on earth, their statues, reliefs, and tomb decorations were not just personal portraits. They were expressions of power, immortality, and divine order. In these works, symbolism prevails over realism. Pharaohs stand tall, holding their scepters, with their gaze fixed on eternity. These figures are sacred symbols accompanying the ruler on his transition to the next world. At the same time, temples and tomb structures were built as venues for religious ceremonies and as a means of connecting with the gods. The scenes carved onto walls not only told the stories of the gods, but also guided the deceased on their journey in the afterlife. In this regard, it can be said that ancient Egyptian art was a carrier of both state propaganda and religious teaching. Among the elements characterizing ancient Egyptian art are strict formal rules and the intensive use of symbols. Depicting figures according to certain proportions was accepted as an aesthetic choice and a sacred necessity. These proportions and rules are known as the canonical measurement system, and human figures were depicted by being divided into modules according to this system. In this way, every figure became a part of both a physical and spiritual order. Rhythm in ancient Egyptian art is provided by scenes that repeat themselves, sequences of figures, and compositional integrity, especially in wall paintings and reliefs. This rhythmic structure symbolizes eternity and cyclicality. Themes such as agricultural scenes, offerings to the gods, and funeral rituals are constantly repeated to emphasize the cyclical nature of time. Symbolism is one of the most distinctive aspects of ancient Egyptian art. The sun disk represents Ra, the falcon-headed Horus represents the sky, and the lotus flower represents rebirth. Even colors are symbolic. Golden yellow signifies divinity, black signifies fertility and life after death, and green expresses abundance. Through these symbols, art becomes not just a visual narrative, but also a metaphysical language. Important works of ancient Egyptian art. The bust of Nefertiti. Exhibited in the Berlin Museum, this extraordinary bust has become the symbol of beauty and grace. Dating back to the 14th century BCE, the work reflects the prestigious position and elegance of Queen Nefertiti as the wife of the high priest pharaoh, Akhenaten. Made of limestone, the bust is the pinnacle of classical Egyptian aesthetics, with its symmetrical features, long neck, and elegant headdress. Tutankhamun's gold death mask. Discovered by Howard Carter in 1922 and located in the Cairo Egyptian Museum, this gold mask is one of the most recognized icons of ancient Egyptian art. Immortalizing the facial features of the young pharaoh, the work is decorated with lapis lazuli, glass, and semi-precious stones. The purpose of the mask was to protect the pharaoh's journey in the next world and symbolize his union with the gods. Abu Simbel Temple. This massive rock temple, built by Ramses II, is fascinating in terms of both architecture and sculpture. 4 large statues of Ramses greet visitors at the entrance. The temple was specially positioned so that sunlight reaches the inner sanctuary twice a year. This astronomical precision reveals the technical knowledge of ancient Egyptian art. Narmer Palette. Dating back to the 31st century BCE, this stone palette symbolizes the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt. Scenes of King Narmer defeating his enemies are depicted, decorated with hieroglyphs. Accepted as both a political document and an aesthetic narrative, the palette reveals the symbolic language of Egyptian art from an early period. Khafre's enthroned statue. Belonging to the Old Kingdom, 26th century BCE, this monumental statue portrays Pharaoh Khafre sitting in a divine posture. Khafre, who commissioned the second pyramid at Giza, is depicted in this statue as both an earthly ruler and a divine figure. Made of black diorite, the statue symbolizes the pharaoh's immortality with its hard and durable structure. The falcon-shaped figure of the god Horus, located on his back, indicates that the king is under sacred protection. The work is a distinguished example of hierarchical scaling, idealized facial features, and the sense of symmetrical composition in classical Egyptian art. Today, it is exhibited in the Cairo Egyptian Museum. Ancient Egyptian art did not consist only of visuals dedicated to the gods. It was also a language of expression closely tied to the lives, beliefs, rituals, and expectations of the people after death. Agricultural scenes depicted on temple walls, hunting moments by the Nile, or the ordinary details of daily life show that art sanctified not only the sublime, but also the everyday. Likewise, tomb paintings served as a kind of visual insurance so that the deceased could lead a similar life in the next world. Art was a means of guaranteeing the continuity of life and existence after death. This unique sense of art played an important role in the thousands of years of stability of Egyptian culture. Hieroglyphs, symbols, statues, and architectural structures reflect not only the aesthetic views of a civilization, but also its social structure, religious beliefs, and worldview. In this respect, ancient Egyptian art has been an indispensable resource for modern archaeology, art history, and anthropology. Even today, many works, from the pyramids of Egypt to a fragment of a fresco, continue to inspire artists, designers, and thinkers. The formal language of ancient Egypt has found a place for itself in many movements, from Art Deco in Western art to contemporary graphic design. These visual narratives calling out from beyond death bear the traces of one of the oldest and deepest relationships humanity has established with art.